Take a look at these faces right here. Some famous faces. What do these 6 people have in common? What are some common traits between these 6 folks? Just yell it out. Leaders, I heard that. What else? Politics. So yes, mostly politics. Influential people. Persuasive, you could say. Now, how many of those faces do you recognize? I'm guessing there's one, maybe, who you don't recognize. I got a free copy of the pin drop principle to whoever can name the guy next to Ronald Reagan. Anybody want to take a shot? It is King George VI, but I'm going to give you the free book because that is a tough one. Good. So King George VI, that is correct. If anyone saw the King's Speech, that movie, that's the gentleman up there. So you recognize these famous faces. Now I'm going to show you 6 more faces. Go ahead and shout the names out of who those people are. Can anyone name any of the people on the screen right now? Here's who these folks are. Still nothing, right? You probably don't recognize any of them. What is the connection between these famous, influential, persuasive people and these people no one knows about? Here is the connection. This was the acting coach who helped them with their communication. Now, some of it is known, like the King's Speech. Some of it is not known. They don't advertise that they work with an acting coach to perfect their delivery so that they can come across influential and persuasive with their communication. So how long has it been that actors have been teaching these techniques to non-actors? Well, it goes back to this gentleman right here, one of my personal heroes. If anyone can name who this is, I got another copy of the pin drop principle. Anybody want to take a shot? I'll give 3 guesses. Aristotle is a fantastic guess. We read a lot about Aristotle in the pin drop, but we're going to talk about him. That is not Aristotle. Second guess. Socrates. Another very good guess. That is not Socrates. Last one. Plato. Close, no cigar. Here's who this is. Demosthenes. That was your next guess, right? That's where you were going next. So why did we put this up here? Here's why. Demosthenes was said to be the greatest of Greek orators, the most persuasive of Greek orators. The problem was he was not always great. When he first started, he was booed off the stage in the assembly in Athens. He was terrible. It wasn't until he was wandering the streets of Athens very depressed that he met the actor Satyrus. And Satyrus said, "Why so glum?" Demosthenes said, "Because I just got booed off the stage. It was humiliating." Satyrus said, "I watched you get booed off the stage. And I know why you got booed off the stage. It wasn't because of what you said. Your message was very good. It's because of how you said it. Your delivery, your voice, your face, your gestures, terrible. That's what I'm the expert at, being a professional actor. Let me help you." And so Satyrus worked with Demosthenes, told him these secret techniques. They started training and working and developing. Pretty soon Demosthenes goes back in front of the assembly in Athens. He's amazing. He's incredible. The lesson here, great communicators, great speakers, they can be made. They're not born. Okay? So that's who Demosthenes is right there. Here are just some more famous faces who have used acting coaches to help them with their communication. The point of showing these is to show you that these techniques, they've been used for a long time and you can use them as well. What do they have in common? They've all used what we call intention-based communication techniques. Objective and intention. That is the secret weapon, the bedrock of the Pinnacle method. Our book, The Pin Drop Principle, is all based on these 2 things. These are what actors have used for a long time, and they're the same things we can all use when trying to deliver a difficult message. Try to be persuasive, try to be confident with our communication. Here's how you can break it down. Objective is very simply what you want at the end. That's your goal. If I'm a used car salesman, guess what? The goal at the end of our interaction on the car lot, I want you to buy this car. Okay? That's pretty simple to identify. All of you with your audiences are going to have different objectives, different things you're trying to accomplish, depending on who that is and what they could do for you or what you can do for them. Intention is not the same as objective. Here's what intention is. That's how you're going to get it. And an intention is always a one-word verb. It's a one-word verb that's going to launch you toward your objective. It's going to sharpen the congruency of your message so you can get what you want. Intention. Very powerful. We'll talk about how to do that in just a second. One-word verb, that is intention. Here's a sentence to help you understand intention and objective better. So first off, those of you who have people who report to you and the rest of you who don't, imagine this scenario. You have 10 people here at Lurie Children's who report to you. They are supposed to start work at 9 a.m. Guess what? Today at 9:45, all 10 of them strolling in late. Unacceptable. You pull them into this room and you're about to deliver a message to them. Let's use intention and objective in this phrase to frame that message to be effective. First off, very simply, what is the objective at the end of that meeting with those 10 people who just came in late? What do you want to happen? Yes, from now on, show up on time at 9 o'clock. Now, how do we get there? How do we modify our delivery in order to accomplish that? Well, let's try to pick an intention. It's a verb. So what are some options that we could choose? Give me one. Motivate might be a good one. Folks, we got it. We have this big project coming up. I need everybody in here at 9 o'clock. You know 9 o'clock is a start time. What's even tougher? I heard to threaten. Threaten, frighten. You come in tomorrow after 9 o'clock, don't bother coming in. You're fired. That's a different approach. Inspire. You might have a great story that you want to tell to inspire them to be better. Okay? Depending on what intention you choose, it will change your delivery. Okay? It's going to change the way you deliver your message. Your eye contact, your face, your voice, everything has to align. Anyone familiar with the Albert Morabian study about communication? So very important one. Albert Morabian did a study in California to try to find out how does a listener or an audience, or in your case maybe a patient or boss, how do they judge us? How do they take in our information and create their perception of us? And what Morabian found was there are 3 channels of communication that someone else will take in to make their judgments about you. And those 3 are verbal, vocal, and visual. So verbal is the words, vocal is the voice, visual is how you look. Now what Morabian found in this study was if all 3 of these channels are telling the same story, they are all equally important in the eyes of your listener. But if there is mixed messaging between what you are saying and how you are saying it, they're no longer equal. In that situation where there is what he called incongruence, mixed messages, which of those 3 do you think becomes most important? Visual is correct. What percentage did he assign to visual in that situation? 55%. Becomes all about the visual. If there's incongruence in mixed messages, what is the second most important thing your audience will take in? Vocal is correct. How you sound while you're saying it. Because what you are saying and how you're saying it don't match up, let me listen to how you're saying it. I'm going to judge that more than the word. That is correct, 38%. Which then only leaves 7% for the actual words. Which means, the lesson from this, if there is incongruence or mixed messaging in what you are saying versus how you are saying it, 93% of the perception your audience comes to is based on the delivery, which is where your intention cues come in, all those things we just talked about. If you are coming to me giving me some tough news, looking me in the eye, bringing your volume down, keeping your answers concise, those things are going to be very important. Why aren't you looking me in the eye? If you don't look me in the eye during this tough conversation, I'm not going to be as reassured as I probably need to be, and it could hurt your credibility. Any questions on those? A good way to show you this in action is everybody look up here. If I were to do, what is your name, sir? Ryan? Ryan with an R? Yep. If I were to say, Ryan, I'm not angry. So let's break down my communication in this situation. What's my verbal message say to Ryan? I'm not angry. However, there's a disconnect. My vocal, my visual tell a different story. There's no way if he and I are in this conversation, he's ever going to believe I'm not angry. Okay? Everything has to align. That is the power of intention. We'll show you right here how intention plays into the Morabian study. Here's what's communicated through your words. Information. Very important. Don't discount the importance of the verbal message. But what are we doing with the nonverbal? That is communicating attitudes and the emotions behind it. What does intention do? That syncs them up. That creates the congruency between the nonverbal and the verbal. Congruency of message, everything on the same page. Is that clear? Everybody understand that? Good. That is your secret weapon right there, intention and objective. Rhetorical triangle from Aristotle. Who talked about Aristotle over here? Yes, brilliant. Fantastic. We write a lot about him in the pin drop principle. Anyone know the rhetorical triangle? So these are the three means of persuasion, Aristotle called them, for you to be able to be persuasive in those difficult conversations when you're presenting information, when you're presenting material. So as we go through these three, think for yourself personally, your individual communication, especially at Lurie Children's. How well do you do with these 3 points on the triangle? The first, right there, we go to the triangle, and the top one is what he called ethos. Do you as a communicator seem honest and sincere with your message? Does it appear that you have good intentions behind what you are saying, or are you trying to put one over on me? That's the first thing we need if we're trying to persuade someone to buy into our message or to do what we're asking them to do. Start with ethos. The second one, right there, logos, meaning credibility and believability. Is your message and what you are saying, does it seem to make sense? Is it credible or believable? You can remember back into the early days of medicine, the med shows they used to call them, where they would go in a wagon from town to the little town, and they'd do a show and they would sell a bottle of water with blue food coloring in it. And that could cure your prostate cancer and your arthritis and your halitosis, everything right here. It's not believable, it's not credible. Okay? So logos, how well do you do with that? And the final one, pathos. Passion, excitement, engagement. A compelling message. Ethos, logos, pathos. Those are the 3 things you have to have with your communication in those tough conversations if you want them to be persuaded to do what you want at the end, to feel the way you want them to feel at the end. Any questions on those? Make sense? Good. How long does it take to make a first impression? New York University did the study to find out when we are communicating a message to someone, how long do we have before that first impression gets locked in? What do you think they found in that study? 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 5, 7, 20. Here's what they found right there. That's what you've got, 7 seconds. 11 judgments get locked in the first 7 seconds. That's what New York University found in the study. She seems very friendly. She seems not very friendly. He seems really organized. He seems completely disorganized. She seems very credible and knowledgeable. She doesn't seem like she knows what she's talking about. He seems very open. He seems kind of closed off. Very fast those things happen. So if you control what you are sending out with your intention cues, you control the way your audience is going to react to them. And everything communicates something. So if I started like this today, what would that communicate? On board, what else? Closed, cut off, maybe defensive. This, opening up, much better, much more open. Nothing to hide, I'm here for you. Okay? Be aware of that. 7 seconds. Oh boy. Lloyd's Bank in London did a study. 10 years ago they did a study to find out what's the average attention span. Someone listening to your message, someone taking in a story, someone listening to information or a presentation. What do you think it was 10 years ago? How long could you keep an audience with you before they started to get distracted or bored? What do you think? 22 minutes. 10 minutes. Here's what it was 10 years ago. 12 minutes. What in the world has happened in the last 10 years? Everybody's got their smartphone, and oh my good, Instagram is, oh my goodness, I just got 10 likes, and I just got a message, and my boss can reach me anytime. In the age of the smart, it'd be funny if everybody had their phone from 10 years ago, and we all held up our phone, the little flip phones that we had 10 years ago. So now, knowing that the smartphone has changed how we take in information, what do you think the attention span is now, according to Lloyd's? It's gone from 12 minutes to what? Here's where we are, folks. Right there. That's what we've got. That is not great news. We've got 5 minutes now. That's how long an audience can stay with us now, today. Okay? So what tool do we have in our arsenal as a communicator to make sure that we don't lose the audience after that danger zone of 5 minutes? Here's what you've got. Right there, it's called a pattern interrupt. Now, some of you probably use these. If you don't, you have to. If you are ever presenting information or speaking to a group, a pattern interrupt is a change-up. It's something you can do to reset the clock back to 0. So I got another 5 minutes before he gets bored again, and now I reset it again. Now I reset it again. Pretty soon it's lunchtime. Oh my goodness. Wow, that was a really good presentation. I can't believe it's time to go to lunch already. That went very fast. Some examples of pattern interrupts. Give me some that you use in your work day at Lurie Children's. Who's got one? Snacks. I guess breaking for a snack would be a pattern interrupt. Yes. What's another one? I've used some so far today in our time together. Yes. Asking a question is a good one. Make it a dialogue, not a monologue. What else? Yes, have the audience engaged. The polling, when I said raise your hand for the clear, confident, concise. Turn to your partner, just that little activity there. That helps. Here are some examples of pattern interrupts that if you don't use, you probably should use to help keep an audience with you during your presentations, during your communication. Changing speakers, soliciting feedback, asking questions, telling a story, new visual aid, incorporating physical activity somehow. Okay, these are all helpful to reset the clock. Boom, 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 and pretty soon, wow, that was very engaging.